Okay, so a couple of people were asking for some video around my new latest addition to my hobby collection with the acquisition of a loom. So I figured I can't really do one at this point while I'm weaving because I don't have a stand to set this on to make that work, so working on that. But I figured I could show you what it looks like. So this is from the side. The process involves starting all the yarn on this end and then pulling it through this thing, which I'll give you a look up in a second, and then weaving on this end and transferring all the threads now as cloth onto the front. So come around here, and so this is the view from the front of the loom. This thing here with the little plastic slots and holes is called it's the rigid heddle that makes up the rigid heddle loom. It has the function of a couple of different pieces that you find in the bigger floor looms. So those plastic white bits that line up together and all have little slots in them, those are the heddles. You put the yarn between them and through the holes, and the arrangement that you use for that is basically what makes up the pattern in the cloth. And the whole thing also functions as the beater. So you put the shuttle here, which is the piece lying on top that has the yarn woven on it, through the fabric, and then you beat it forward. And by lifting this heddle up, the rigid heddle up and down, you make this opening here in the cloth. And by moving that opening up and down and putting the shuttle through it, that's basically what is going to create the fabric itself. So that's kind of my loom so far. The pieces of paper are there to help on both sides so that the fabric, and more specifically on the back, so that the warp threads that are just individual threads don't get tangled, and helps to keep the tension even. But so far, even tension is my biggest problem, as you can see. If you look at it, you'll notice that there are some sections where it's a little bunchy. This edge in particular likes to get thick and then thin, and so far it's a little bit better up at the top now. I've got some good sections and some crappy sections, so I'm working on tension, obviously, and hope to improve that. But so far this is a scarf. It's the warp, that's the threads running backwards and forwards that you can see disappearing through the heddle, is actually an acrylic. I'm usually kind of yarn snob and don't like acrylic, but this was really pretty and really soft, and yeah, so I'm going to give it a try. And going the weft threads, which is the back and forth stuff that's on that shuttle, is Coleraine lace. Weight, it's a merino tencel blend. I had leftovers from a shawl that I knit, and figured one of my long-term objectives is shawls that are with hand-painted warps, and using lace weight, sort of in a fingering weight, and using lace weight as the weft, so that those warp threads are really showing through, and that the color work in them is the main design feature. So I figured I could give that a test run with these, which I think it's probably my warp is probably a little thicker than some of that sock weight would be, but it gives me an idea of what I'm going to be working with if I do that. Anyway, so far it's looking nice. I'm almost to the end, so I'm looking forward to getting it off, getting it washed, and seeing how it feels when it's done. So yeah, I will give another update later and show you what it looks like when it comes off the loom. Cheers!